Hello, medieval history students. Mrs. Paskogan here. To start out today's lesson, I would like you to just take a look at this political cartoon. And anytime I have students analyze any type of picture or cartoon, I tell you to divide it up into 4 quadrants, and so that way you won't miss anything. You look at each section, so the top left, top right, bottom right, bottom left. So you don't, sometimes people have a tendency to quickly glance at a picture and think they see it all, but that just makes you focus a little more so you don't miss any important details. So what do you see here? So you see a man here, a rowboat, and it's titled The Rich, right? So he looks happy, carefree, having a good old time. Right, and he's on a wave, right? So he's riding this big wave. And what's the wave title? Globalization. So the rich are riding a big wave of globalization. And who's the wave about to hit? Look at this guy down here. Well, I don't know if I can see any writing. I don't think there's any writing on the hat, but how would you describe this person? Do they look like they would be wealthy to you? Look at the appearance, very skinny. Doesn't look like they're very well dressed. I'd say maybe this is a poor person. And if you look at the expression, contrasted with this guy here, he looks very happy, carefree, and look at this one. He looks scared, right? He's about to get hit by this big tidal wave, the tidal wave of globalization. So I got this cartoon from a website called Cartoon Movement, and this is the author, I would imagine, right here of the cartoon. And actually, if you see down here, it says it's titled The Wave, Globalization. You ride the wave or you get crushed by it. Right, so really, who is this cartoonist? So political cartoons show an opinion. So what is he trying to say? Well, in his opinion, the rich are the ones that benefit. They get to ride the wave of globalization, but the ones that are getting crushed by it are the poor. Okay, so that leads us into our discussion today on the pros and cons of globalization. So for this week, in addition to your other checkpoint that you're going to be working on, if you go back to the pacing guide, we're now on week 8, so you're going to be doing globalization in my life checkpoint, which is right here. But I'm also going to be putting in this checkpoint as well. And that could change the numbering of this depending on where I enter this. So don't be too focused on the numbers, just the titles of your checkpoints. But, okay. So you will have to complete this in addition to that other checkpoint. And how will you answer these questions? Well, everything, and I say it here with the directions, everything will be answered within this document. So right on the document. Unless I specify otherwise, that's where you're going to answer everything. So, your learning target. I can analyze the pros and cons of globalization on the world. So you're going to look at the good and the bad. And I'm doing this to help you because your final products are coming up. You're going to have to finish these by next week because this whole project ends next week. So you have about 2 weeks yet. This is over on October 25th. So you have, I guess, well, it's not due this Friday, but next Friday. So you have about 2 weeks yet. So since one of your final products, and if you look here, this one, the question is, and you keep getting hit with the same question, has globalization done more harm or good for the world? And you should have already worked on that this past week with this checkpoint the structured academic controversy on globalization, where it has you read different documents. So you read through different documents here, which I explained in this video. But you also had to answer, again, notice the same question. Has globalization done more harm or good for the world? So what's that really asking you? It's asking you for the pros and the cons, right? The pros are the good, the cons are the bad. So that's why I am focusing this lesson on the pros and cons of globalization, to give you even more help to answer this question. Okay. So what you're going to do now on your own is you're going to, in the Explore section, you have a read, a watch, and a do. You're going to read this Newswella article. And I want to tell you about this. This article is The Effects of Economic Globalization. I really like this Newswella. And throughout the rest of the year, you're going to have many articles to read from this. So you're going to have to join it by opening a free account. Because when you click on this, you'll see it'll say join. Okay? And you're not going to be able to read the whole article until you join for a free account. So it's free. So you just click join. And what I recommend is to do, and then you have to pick, I'm a learner, I'm an educator, obviously, but you would do this. And then you could try the, are you joining a teacher's class, by entering that class code I gave you earlier. I sent it in a Hangout on Friday. But if not, you could go the other route. It doesn't matter. It's up to you. But I would first start by trying the yes and entering that class code I gave you. But if you're having problems, you can certainly do it the other way, and just to set up a free account. Okay, but anyways, and if there are any difficulties or problems, please let me know, because I can just copy and paste this and put this on a Google Doc as well. But I would really like you to join this with a free account. Okay, so you're going to use that article to learn more about the effects of globalization. So it's really good talking about the effects. And specifically, you're going to highlight the pros and the cons. So that's why I recommend, if you can, print that out. I personally really like to read stuff printed on paper, and I like to highlight when I'm highlighting and taking notes on paper. So I think it'd be a good idea to print that out. Then I want you to watch this video, and it's really interesting. It's about the iPhone and how it's made and how it impacts the global economy. So that'll help you understand global trade better, how it works, and what are the consequences of it. So you're going to watch that video. And then there are some flashcards that you are going to review here on Quizlet. So, when you're doing this, create your jobs around the world, you click the card to see the term. Okay, that's a pro. So it's going to take you through the pros and cons. That's how I labeled those. Okay, discussion prompts after you do all of those activities. In what ways has globalization been both positive and negative for the world? And then you're just going to simply start typing in here to answer the question. Then complete this matching game on the pros and cons of globalization located on Quizlet to test what you have learned. So this is on Quizlet, so you'll click on Quizlet and complete it there. Then the elaborate. Create a Google Doc that includes 2 columns, one for the pros and one for the cons of globalization. List the ways globalization has been positive and negative for the world. Think in terms of the economy, trade, culture, technology, the environment, and impact on workers. So again, to answer this, you can just start typing right here. You can make spaces, whatever, but this one you would only really need to insert your link for your Google Doc here, so I can then grade it. And then lastly, for your express is your self-assessment. Now that you have worked on learning more about the pros and cons of globalization, how do you feel about your progress? So you'll pick one, and then you're going to write a short reflection answering this question. And again, you can just start typing it right here. Okay, so that is this week's lesson. This is going to be a checkpoint. Yeah, so you will submit that like any other checkpoint. And don't forget, you're doing this week and this one. So you're doing 2 checkpoints. This one that I just discussed with you, and then also globalization and my life. Okay? And so for this one, this is going to have you engage with the question, how is globalization relevant to my life? So we're going to look at the pros and cons. Now you're going to look at it more personally to you. And so you're going to have to go through here and look at a series of different slides. And with this one, you're going to be predicting and hypothesizing. So I'll give you more information on that in another video. But for now, I just wanted to focus on, where is it? This lesson right here. So if you have any questions for me as you're working on this, send me a hangout, send me an email. I'm always here if you need any help. Okay, you have a wonderful week.